Welcome back to NT Coins World, where we continue our deep dive into the world of numismatics. If you thought the 1971 S Lincoln cent was fascinating, get ready, because the 1982 Lincoln cent is a coin that is anything but ordinary. In fact, this particular year is one of the most historically significant in the entire series of Lincoln cents, full of variety, mystery, and collectible potential. So if you've ever wondered what makes the 1982 Lincoln cent so unique, stick around because you're in for a treat. So let's begin with the basics. The 1971 S Lincoln cent was struck at the San Francisco Mint, denoted by the small S mint mark below the date. While the S mint mark itself might suggest that the coin is a proof, after all, San Francisco was famous for producing proof coins, it's important to remember that not all S mint coins from this year were proof issues. The 1971 S was released in both proof and business strike formats, though the business strikes were far fewer and significantly more desirable in certain varieties. This coin is made from the same standard copper alloy that defined Lincoln cents for most of the 20th century, 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. The total mintage for business strike 1971 S cents was just over 525 million coins, which might sound like a large number until we dig into the errors and varieties that make some of these coins incredibly valuable. Let's talk about one of the most iconic features that has captured collectors' attention, the doubled die obverse, or DDO. The 1971 S DDO is one of the most significant double die Lincoln cents, and it's not just a minor anomaly, it's a bold, unmistakable doubling that jumps right out at you, especially in the inscriptions Liberty and In God We Trust. These doubled elements are visible even without a microscope if you have sharp eyes and decent lighting. What makes this error especially important is that it was not immediately recognized by the public. For years, these coins circulated unnoticed, quietly passing from pocket to register until collectors began identifying and cataloging them. Today, examples of the 1971 SDDO in high grades, say MS65 red or better, can fetch jaw-dropping amounts at auction. Some have sold for $50,000 to $70,000, depending on eye appeal and condition. Even in lower circulated grades, like fine or very fine, examples of this error can command hundreds, sometimes thousands, of dollars, especially if certified by PCGS or NGC. Now you may be wondering, what causes this doubling and why is it so rare? The answer lies in the die-making process. A doubled die is created when the die itself, which stamps the coin design onto the blank planchet, receives multiple impressions from the hub that are slightly misaligned. When this flawed die is used to mint coins, every coin it strikes will show the same doubling, creating an entire batch of valuable collectibles. The 1971 S doubled die is among the strongest of the Lincoln series, with distinct doubling that isn't limited to one or two letters. And remember, this doubling occurred on the obverse, or front, of the coin. That's where Abraham Lincoln's bust is centered, along with the motto, In God We Trust, Liberty, and the date with mint mark. The reverse of the coin with the Lincoln Memorial remains normal. Now let's say you're holding a 1971 S Lincoln cent in fine condition, meaning it shows moderate wear but retains all major details. While this wouldn't be considered a gem by grading standards, it's still very collectible, especially if it exhibits signs of doubling. Fine condition coins with the DDO error can easily reach $400 to $600 depending on market demand. But that's just one angle. Other die varieties exist too, including repunched mint marks known as RPMs, where the S mint mark was punched into the die more than once, resulting in overlapping impressions. These are subtler than a doubled die, but collectors love them nonetheless. Some RPMs have fetched $50 to $100 in circulated condition, and even more when found in higher grades. The historical context also plays a role in this coin's allure. 1971 was a significant year in US history. The Vietnam War was ongoing, inflation was rising, and President Nixon had just taken the US off the gold standard. Coins were still a daily part of commerce, no debit cards or contactless payments, so cents changed hands constantly. The wear and tear on coins like the 1971 S tells the story of everyday America, gas stations, diners, newsstands, and laundromats. This is part of what makes these coins so nostalgic and meaningful for collectors. Let's also not forget the unique role that San Francisco played in US coin production during this era. The mint had shifted its focus to proof coins and special collector issues, so business strike coins from San Francisco often had smaller runs compared to Philadelphia or Denver. This makes the 1971s more intriguing when found in circulation, as they weren't as widespread as their sister mints. In the current market, raw 1971s cents in fine condition without major errors or varieties typically trade for 5 to 15 cents, maybe a little more if the coin has a pleasing patina or copper luster. But the moment a double die or repunched mint mark is discovered, the value shoots up exponentially. Certified examples are in particularly high demand because buyers want the assurance that they're purchasing a genuine variety. As always, condition plays a major role. While your coin is in fine condition, those looking to invest heavily often chase red, uncirculated pieces. Still, don't underestimate the collector interest in circulated varieties. Many collectors specialize in circulated grades and enjoy the challenge of cherry-picking error coins from rolls or pocket change. And if you're a viewer right now holding a 1971s Lincoln cent and wondering what it might be worth, grab a magnifying glass. Take a close look at the Liberty and In God We Trust. Check for signs of doubling. If it looks suspiciously bold or shows a slight shadow effect on the letters, it could be the real deal. Submitting it to a third-party grading service like PCGS or NGC can confirm its authenticity and unlock its true market value. Before we move on to the next Lincoln cent, one final note about this coin. The 1971 SDDO is one of the big 5 double dies in the Lincoln cent series, joining the ranks of the 1955, 1969s, 1972, and 1995 DDOs. These coins have become legendary, and finding one, even in a modest condition like fine, can be a game changer for a collector or treasure hunter. Now let's keep the momentum going and talk about another fascinating Lincoln cent that's not only misunderstood, but hides a treasure trove of collectible value, especially when you know what to look for. That's right. Up next is the complex and wildly interesting 1982 Lincoln cent. Let's dive into the 1982 Lincoln cent. Let's begin by understanding the basic facts about the 1982 Lincoln cent. This was the year the US Mint switched from using the traditional 95% copper alloy that had been in circulation since the inception of the Lincoln cent to a new copper-plated zinc formula. This transition was driven by rising copper prices, which had made the production of copper-heavy coins more expensive. The copper-plated zinc version consisted of 97.5% zinc and only 2.5% copper, making it much cheaper to produce. The change didn't happen all at once, however. The Mint produced Lincoln cents in both compositions during the year, resulting in 2 distinct types of coins with the same design. One was the copper, 95% copper coin, and the other was the zinc-plated, 97.5% zinc coin. The most notable part, the differences in weight between these 2 types of coins. The copper version weighed about 3.11 grams, while the zinc version was lighter at about 2.5 grams. What's fascinating about the 1982 Lincoln cent is that the copper version was only minted during the first half of the year, while the zinc version was minted starting in the latter half. This division between the 2 alloys resulted in varieties that have become a goldmine for collectors. If you have a 1982 Lincoln cent, it's crucial to know what composition it is, because the copper version is the rarer and more valuable one. But there's more to this coin than just its material change. Over the years, collectors have noticed varieties of the 1982 Lincoln cent that are worth paying close attention to, particularly the reverse designs and minting errors. Among the most significant is the 1982 small date variety. The small date variety is a result of changes made to the date's die that produced a slightly smaller and more condensed date than the standard large date version. The small date is far rarer than the large date, and it has a significantly higher market value. If you happen to come across a 1982 small date copper cent in decent condition, congratulations. You could be holding a coin worth as much as $10,000 to $25,000. The reason these coins fetch such high prices is that their rarity, combined with the copper composition, makes them a highly sought-after item for serious collectors. So how can you identify the difference between the small date and large date? The answer lies in the date numerals themselves. The small date has a date that is more compact, with narrower numbers, while the large date has wider, more spaced-out digits. Now let's turn our attention to another error that can dramatically affect the value of the 1982 Lincoln cent, the double-struck error. This happens when the coin is struck by the die more than once, resulting in a blurry, overimpressed image that's quite striking. Double-struck 1982 cents, particularly the copper variety, are rare and can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on the degree of the error and the condition of the coin. But errors aren't the only reason this coin is captivating. The 1982 Lincoln cent also has significant historical context. 1982 marked a shift in US coinage design and materials that mirrored economic challenges of the time. Rising inflation, especially in metals, forced the mint to adjust its coinage system, a move that would have long-lasting effects on the look and feel of US currency. This coin represents a turning point in the history of American coinage and offers a glimpse into the changing nature of the US Mint's decisions during 1850, a time of economic pressure. For the 1982 Lincoln cent in fine condition, we need to understand the degree of wear and the overall preservation of the coin. In fine condition, the coin will have moderate wear on the high points of the design. Lincoln's face may show some wear, and the details of the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse may appear somewhat softened. The copper version in particular will still retain some of its reddish-brown hue, though much of it will have oxidized over time into a darker brown. Despite the wear, the coin will still be identifiable, and its key features will remain visible. In fine condition, the 1982 Lincoln cent isn't a huge monetary prize by itself, but certain varieties and errors can dramatically increase its value. For example, even in fine condition, a small date copper cent could easily sell for between $200 and $500 in today's market, with some higher grade examples reaching over $1,000 at auction. If it's a zinc version, the 97.5% zinc alloy, the coin is far more common and typically worth only 10 to 25 cents depending on condition. But let's not stop there. The 1982 D Denver Mint and 1982 P Philadelphia Mint Lincoln cents are also incredibly popular among collectors, and the transition coins, which are the last few copper coins produced before the switch to zinc, are also highly sought after. The D Mint Mark coins of 1982, which are also struck in both copper and zinc compositions, can also bring good value if in high grade or possess the rare varieties mentioned. The market for these coins is ever evolving. Collectors and investors are always on the lookout for minting errors or specific varieties, and 1982 Lincoln cents are no exception. So if you happen to have a 1982 Lincoln cent in your collection, or if you spot one in your change, make sure to closely examine the coin for any die errors, small date varieties, or possible double strikes. Before we wrap up, let's talk about the future value of these coins. As the years go by and more people become interested in numismatics, the appeal of the 1982 Lincoln cent, especially the copper variety, will continue to rise. While many of these coins are still relatively affordable, the more distinctive varieties and error coins are becoming rarer and harder to find. As a result, collectors who secure high-quality specimens now may see significant value appreciation in the future. In conclusion, the 1982 Lincoln cent is far more than just a coin from a year with a mundane historical backdrop. It represents a pivotal moment in American coinage history, and whether you're looking for a simple copper coin to add to your collection or you're chasing after those coveted varieties and errors, the 1982 Lincoln cent is sure to remain a key player in the world of numismatic. If you've got one, especially in fine condition, take the time to examine it closely. Who knows? You could be sitting on a rare treasure that's worth far more than its face value. That wraps up your detailed YouTube script for both the 1971 Lincoln cent and the 1982 Lincoln cent. Each of these coins carries a rich history and fascinating varieties that could be worth a lot to collectors. Remember to encourage your viewers to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and leave their thoughts in the comment section, as they may have their own interesting finds to share.